Let's go, Diyas.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's a changes, yeah. So because usually we meet in the afternoon, but today, well, it's early Sunday morning. Early Saturday morning. So welcome, and it's good to you all again. But let's start the presentation. So who wants to go first? It's either Kaimu. Will you present the book? Sorry. Yeah.
I do have a book, but this book, I'm not sure if it's interesting. For me, I think it's interesting, but I will do that after one, I don't know, maybe after Pipit or Donald.
Okay. So it's since Pipit, are you still on your morning skincare routine? Okay, I'll go for the
I have
Donald.
to do that too, right?
Donald, please go first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diyas. So what I would like to present today is the book. The title of the book is "Turn the Ship Around" by Captain Marquette. I don't know whether I pronounce Marquette correctly or not, but he was a captain in the U.S. Navy, and he led a nuclear submarine. Actually, because of this book, I ended up watching a movie titled Crimson Tide in
Crimson Tide.
1995 about nuclear submarine.
Denzel Washington and Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally. Crimson Tide. I
The-
knew it was going to be this one. Go ahead.
Title again?
Crimson Tide.
Crimson
okay.
Tide. Yes.
I have to write that down.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and Denzel Washington.
Yes. So that I could understand the context better. How is a nuclear submarine is like? And yeah, I agree that this is a good place to learn about leadership because a nuclear submarine is pretty much isolated because they are deployed for months at a time and there is no direct line of communication. It's difficult to get communication or direction. Therefore, most of the time they are autonomous. They have to make decisions by themselves. And also it's a complex organization with so many moving parts. So yeah, given the context, I think this is a good book for leadership. That is a topic for the book. And I read this book because I learned from many sources. I forgot the resources that this is a good book on leadership. And actually in the introduction, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, mentioned that he didn't know any better model for leadership than this one. So that is, I think, a strong endorsement from Stephen Covey. Right, now, the content of the book. At the time, the submarine called Santa Fe was at the bottom of the fleet in terms of performance, and for the captain, the most important metric is retention, because after deployment, they have to re-enlist the officers and the soldiers, and many of them left in the previous assignments because the atmosphere, the environment was not good, and many of them decided to leave the Navy. And so he took command of the ship and he decided to change the approach, the leadership approach. The normal approach of leadership, not just in the submarine, but everywhere, is called leader-follower. So there is one leader and many followers. But he decided to change the approach to something called leader-leader. So one leader and many leaders also. And there are many interesting concepts in the book. But in a sense, if you want to create a leader-leader environment, you need to give control, not take control. So decision authority, there is a quote from the book, let me read it. Do not move information to authority, move authority to the information. So usually the leader want to get much information in order to make a good decision. But this is the opposite. Where the information resides, we give autonomy or the decision-making ability to that person. So don't move information to authority, move authority to the information. This is giving control. But if you want to give control, there are two requirements. The first requirement is called competence. The second one is clarity. Without these two, the result will be chaos. Because you give control, but the person, that means the person must have the technical competence, the technical ability to make good decisions, because they are the one who will make decisions, right? So first, they must have the technical knowledge, the competence. And second, they must have clarity. Clarity is the clarity about organizational purpose. So they must know what the organization is about. They must know about the goal, the big picture, the context. Otherwise, vision for the organization. So it is control and the two pillars. So we can imagine the control is like a big stone, and there are two pillars like in a clarity. Our job is to build these two, competence and clarity, and then we can give control. And for control itself, there are some mechanisms described in the book. First is the language. Use the language, the phrase that is recommended is "I intend to." So the person approached the captain and then said, "I intend to submerge the ship," for example. And then the captain may ask some questions, and after getting the answers, then give the approval. Even better is that the person, when say, "I intend to submerge the ship," already give the information because of this, and the captain only say, "Very well." So "I intend to" means the one who has the initiative is the person, not the commander, and give the reason for this. So that is "I intend to." And then for competence, some of the mechanism is that do not brief but certify. So I do not mention all the mechanism, only the interesting ones, in my opinion. Don't brief but certify. So usually we have briefings, but in his opinion, briefing is a bad technique for competence because only one person come to the meeting prepared. That is the person who will give the briefing. Instead, he says that it is better to make a certification meeting, not a briefing meeting. Certification meeting means the people come there, they have to prepare before, and the purpose of the meeting is to certify whether they are capable to do the job or not. So it's different. The meeting leader will ask questions to assess the competence of the people, and then can make a decision whether the person is ready or not. So the difference is that the participants have to prepare beforehand. That is called certification. For clarity, one thing that I find interesting is that they use legacy for inspiration. So because this is a nuclear submarine, they made the habit that whenever they pass interesting spots in the past, for example, a place for battle in World War II, they will make announcement. In this place, there was a battle between this and this. And so they try to inspire using the heroism in the past. This will give them, oh, I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to defend the country, something like that. So they try to inspire the crew with legacy for clarity. And also give guiding principles in making decisions. What is the priority for decision making so that they can make decisions themselves. This is for clarity. All right, so I think the book itself is quite simple if we digest it into the core idea. So, one interesting thing at the end, I will read. So this is the end of the book, the last paragraph, I will read it. Quote, ultimately, the most important person to have control over is yourself. For it is that self-control that will allow you to give control, create leaders. I believe that rejecting the impulse to take control and attract followers will be your greatest challenge and in time your most powerful and enduring success. It means that the leader themselves must have self-control to resist taking control. I mean, micromanaging. And that is difficult, but over time will become, oh, one more thing. One interesting thing here he says that you should not want to be missed. So I think that is counterintuitive. Usually in the Navy at that time, if the performance of the ship dropped after a leader left, that was a good sign, meaning, wow, he was such a great leader. After he left, the performance dropped. But he said that is not the case. That means he didn't create leaders. The good leaders, the great leaders, they do not want to be missed. Meaning when you leave, the performance of the organization should stay the same, should still get better, and even improve without you. So that is the sign of a good leader. I think that is counterintuitive, right? Because often people try to be, I am a great leader, and people need me. Without me, the performance will drop. But this book says the opposite. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. And your rating? 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 6 out of 5,
I think 5.
5.
Yeah, there are many stories actually in the book that illustrate the principles.
Okay. So
Why don't
do
you
you,
share
do you read
one?
the physical book or the ebook?
Ebook. I never read physical books.
Share one story, Donna, from there.
Okay, so one of them is that I actually haven't mentioned this.
Hmm.
So there was one soldier, one sailor who deserted. Deserted meaning he left command without permission.
Hmm.
So the normal response is that this person will get strong punishment, right? Because in the military, if you just left without permission,
Hmm.
that is a serious discipline.
AWOL.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I will, yes. But he dug deeper and tried to find out why this person did. Actually, he didn't leave base, but he just left the ship and went to sleep. So he didn't like run away from the base, no, but he just left the ship in a base and went to sleep. So he tried to find out what happened, and the captain personally came, try to find this person. So I think that's quite touching, because if you watch Crimson Tide, the captain is very high position. He has the power to launch nuclear ballistic missile, so very powerful person. But he personally came to find this low-ranking sailor, and then he talked to him. Why did you desert like this? And he mentioned that in a sense that the job was unreasonable. And he tried to find out, oh, the chief above the sailor something wrong in that they give too much workload to the sailors, and while the chief themselves just relax. So he got very angry to the leader of the sailor, and he set rule that after this, every chief must have the same workload as the worst sailor in your department. So if the worst sailor has 12 hours, the chief must take 12 hours. You cannot just relax and tell your sailor to take all the job. So I think that is one good story, meaning the leader serve, a serving leader, right? Because usually the leader is the boss, but yeah, you serve your crew and try to find out. And also he pushed them. Another story is that he pushed the sailors for education, because in the Navy there was education program, and he pushed them, try to give them better future even beyond the Navy. So I think that is also inspirational, not just to get this job done, but taking care of their lives. That's one story.
That's a good one, because only if you give punishment, you don't get to the bottom of the problems, right? There's no improvement for everyone. Good story.
Okay. Thank you, Donald. Anyone would like to ask questions to Donald? Yes, Pipit.
Want to clarify, is it true this Crimson Tide was inspired by the book?
No, 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 no. It just happened to have nuclear submarine. So
Oh, okay. Because that would be the opposite of what this book is about. In Crimson Tide, because the captain that time gave a lot of autonomy to his people lower in the low rank, they decided to mutinize. So they rebel against the captain. Mutiny in the ship.
actually, it's a bit more complicated than that. So not actually the captain in that Crimson Tide movie is leader follower, not leader. He took control himself.
So that's why I'm thinking it's totally the opposite of what the book said.
Yes, yes.
So that's what. Wait. So, but don't you think if we give some type of authority or power for our people in the lower rank to make their own decisions, things like that, is there any risk that they will go against us at some point?
Yes. He tried once to do this, and the end result was chaos. That's why there are two pillars. If you want to give control, there are two prerequisites. The first one is competence, meaning the people are technically capable, and the second one is clarity. And clarity means they must have clear, they must have clear idea about the organizational purpose. So our purpose is this, we do this, our ideal is this, and therefore they will all work in the same direction. Without these two, you cannot give control. So you must have these two in place, and then you give control. Or you can give little control, a bit, and then you increase this competence and clarity, and then you give more and more control for time.
Stages, yeah. Which one do you think in Indonesia? Are we leaders or are we leader followers?
This is a recorded session.
Tough question.
Yeah.
I think common almost everywhere is leader follower in almost everywhere. By the way, another good book if you want to learn about leadership is Extreme Ownership. Extreme Ownership by Joko Willing.
Since Michael is here, can you type the book, the book you're discussing in the comment section?
Yep. Welcome, Michael. Turn the sheet around. This is the book.
Turn the ship around.
By the way, Donald, about deserted tentara ya. I just finished 2 weeks ago. Limited series on Netflix called BP. It's a Korean. It's a Korean series actually, but it's about this deserted military, and then. And then I realized there are lots of reasons why people left, and then if they know exactly what they have to do about it, I don't think there will be any deserted military, because it's all about incompetence, it's all about over workload, and then anyway about those things it also discussed in this book. So later on I will discuss about it as well. So anything else? Questions for Donald? Otherwise, thank you so much, Donald. And Kaimu, would you
Thank you.
please?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Donald. I wrote down some of the stuff that you just mentioned, and two books from your reference to read. Okay, I promised you a book called Wednesday is an Indigo Blue. This is about synesthesia. And because this year I found out that my son is actually synesthetic. I didn't know that before, right? Just strange things that happened, but I think it's a blessing. So anyway, but the book is actually rather difficult for me to read because I don't know the term, the
Sorry,
English.
Kak Imo, what's the name again? Yesterday?
Wednesday is an indigo blue.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone familiar with synesthesia?
I'm not.
No. Yeah, you are. Pipit, please explain.
I don't know. Is it like try to move without touching it?
No, it's not that. But I think it's, we have senses, right? And that senses sometimes come all together. So, and creating, like, for example, if I say Wednesday, and that comes to mind is the sense of that is actually a blue thing. It's hard to explain, but I think I just also found out that it's actually in our DNA. Like, he got it from me, but of course I didn't realize that I also get that. It's hard to explain. I mean, maybe if you're interested, you can read that. My son, whenever I see, I have to say this, words, he in his mind and his eyes, he will put it together in a group of three letters. When reading things, three letters, for example, competence. So in his mind, it says pit, ANC, ENC, and then the E is going to the next letter, something like that. But you'll also see things, for example, numbers for number 8, for example. Number 8 in his mind looks like nenek bongkok, for example. So this kind of, I think it's special. I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to, to make this as a potential, but I'm learning about it now. However, because it's not finished, I read a short book. I think it has been mentioned somewhere. I'm not sure here or somewhere else. This book is called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Familiar? No, okay. So this is a memoir of life in death about a person who actually got in-lock syndrome. Like everything in his body is like a vegetable, but his mind is still sharp. He's 43 years old. He was in coma for 20 days. And then when he woke up, nothing can work except just one eye blinking. Other than that, only his mind is sharp. So that's why I think it's the memoir of life in death. Everything's death except the mind. And he wrote this book during that period of time. The book is about 83 pages in the ebook. And the most interesting thing about this is he was helped by an expert. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know the name, but every time one word is decoded from the blink of an eye, it took 2 minutes. So 2 minutes for one word. And this 83 pages, I just, roughly counted. One page is about 300 words. And so for one page, it takes about 600 minutes, which is like 10 hours, right? 10 hours time. So I feel this book is, this book deserves some respect, like in my opinion, because he poured out everything that he can still express with his blink of eye. So the book looks like an article because he's an editor for Elle magazine. So the original is in French. So the things that he wrote, I'll read it here. Other than prologues, it's about wheelchair, prayer, bath time, the alphabet, the Empress, Cinecita, I'm not sure what it is. Tourist, the sausage, guardian angel, the photo, yet another in coincidence, the dream, voice of stage, my lucky day, our very own Madonna, through a glass darkly, Paris, the vegetable, outing 2021, and that's the last one I read is in the part of the Duck Hunt Sunday and the Ladies of Hong Kong. There are 5 more parts here that I haven't read. So each part is actually about 2 pages long, 2 or 3 pages. So, and he already died after 2 days of the publication of the book. In order to honor him, I would like you to lend your ears and read some of the words that he wrote. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, I note down here some that is worth reading, but I see if reading just one parts is enough. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. This part is from the prayer. Ignore the voice. Yeah, the voice is not good, but anyway. At Burke, I think Burke is the name of the place. I'm not sure the setting is in French. The two of us, only the two of us were locked in. And my own case was not classic. I'm able to swivel my head, which is not supposed to be part of the clinical picture. Since most victims are relegated to a vegetable existence, the evolution of the disease is not well understood. All that is known is that if the nervous system makes up its mind to start working again, it does so at the speed of a hair growing from the base of the brain. So it is likely that several years will go by before I can expect to wiggle my toes. In fact, it is my respiratory passage that I can hope for improvement. In the long term, I can hope to eat more normally, and that is without the help of a gastric tube. Eventually, perhaps I will be able to breathe naturally without a respirator and muster enough breath to make my vocal cords vibrate. But for now, I would be the happiest of men if I could just swallow the overflow of saliva that endlessly floods my mouth. Even before my first slides, I'm already practicing sliding my tongue towards the rear of my palate in order to provoke a swallowing reaction. What is more, I have dedicated to my larynx the little packets of incense hanging on the wall, amulets brought back from Japan by pious globe-trotting friends. Just one of the stones in the Thanksgiving monument erected by my circle of friends during their wanderings. In every corner of the world, the most diverse deities have been solicited in my name. I try to organize all the spiritual energy. If they tell me that candles have been burned for my sake in a Breton chapel, or that a mantra has been chanted in a Nepalese temple, I at once give each of those spirits invoked a precise task. A woman I know enlisted a Cameroon holy man to procure me the goodwill of Africa's gods. I have assigned him my right eye. For my hearing problems, I rely on the relationship between my devout mother-in-law and the monks of a Bordeaux brotherhood. They regularly dedicate their prayers to me, and I occasionally steal into their abbey to hear their chants fly heavenwards. So far, the results have been unremarkable. But when 7 brothers of the same order had their throats cut by Islamic fanatics, my ears hurt for several days. Yet all these lofty protections are merely clay ramparts, walls of sand, Maginot lines, compared to the small prayer my daughter Celeste sends up to her lords every evening before her closed her eyes. Since we fall asleep at roughly the same hour, I set out for the kingdom of slumber with this wonderful talisman, which shield me from all harms. That's his prayers. There are also things that I feel so touching, yeah, from the Sunday, from the situation, from the sun play, from from the feeling when he received letters. So from this reading, I learned a lot more about humanity, about how we are actually very strong, and also to learn about gratefulness of what I have right now. I think it's a bit too long, yeah. That's about it. I from 5 to 5. I think this is like probably 6 for me. Yeah. The most interesting part of the book is that he's not giving up. He fought to the end, and from that, and I learned, and everyone who read this book learned. And I think if you want to not to read but to also watch the movie, there's a movie with the same title. It's just that I don't think I can watch it. It's too depressing, probably. Okay, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaimo. Anyone would like to ask questions?
Actually, Kaimul, in TED Talk, there are several people who experience locked-in syndrome and they got a chance to
Oh,
tell their story. So, if you
TED Talks?
TED Talk, yes, a lot. Unlocking locked-in syndrome.
Oh,
Actually.
okay.
And a lot of the stories are horrible. For example,
Hmm.
nurses abused.
Hmm?
The nurse
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah.
sexually abused
Hmm.
this patient because the nurse thought the patient was not there.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was there all the time. He couldn't make any reaction.
Hmm.
Like that, right? So it kind of unlocked the dark sides of human. What length humans can do mean things when no one was watching.
Hmm.
So it was pretty emotional talk. But for this writer, did he experience any like abuse or of that during his time?
Not that he never say anything about that, but he also can see the frustration that people towards him. Like for example, the frustration of not understand what he's trying to say, or how to deal with him in the situation when they visit him. And he also mentioned about the nurses who's frustrated with him, but not in that kind of like abuse. But he read books from time to time. Because his mind is still working, right? He can
Someone
yeah,
hold book for him?
yeah, somebody hold the book for him, and if he finished one page, he will have the blink of the eye.
Wow. So the people around him realized that he was conscious.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's the difference. Right?
yeah, yeah.
In that talk, people didn't even know he was conscious. They
Okay.
kind of assume he was like when the brain dead type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Brain is dead, but your body is still alive type of situation.
That's
So
even more frustrating, right?
that's even more frustrating. And can you imagine experiencing time passes for so many years and not doing anything, but your mind is still alive, like just trying to tell people that I'm here.
Yeah.
And one person who realized that he was conscious was actually a yoga teacher who happened to visit this hospital and try to talk to the patients one by one. And the yoga teacher looked at him in the eyes and tried to, because knowing this nurse, this yoga teacher didn't know that this person was conscious or not. So she assumed that, okay, probably he can listen. And then he responded with his eye. So many years he was the only person, and she was a stranger who brought up this information to the doctors. No, he is conscious. He responded to it. Everyone else was surprised. Not even his families realized it. So it was pretty crazy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, scary. I spoke about this to my sister, and I said, "Do you think it's against like how to say the rules to have somebody like in that kind of situation to kill him themselves or ask for suicide? Which one is crueler? You know, let that kind of person live or actually let them go? I don't know, but that's life.
That's an evergreen debate. Assisted suicide is an evergreen debate.
Yeah.
And we still debate about it.
Kaimong, I would like to ask more about synesthesia, but when I read the explanation about synesthesia, I suddenly remember this national championship of memory memory championship. I
Yeah.
don't know, but her name is Yanya Wintersoul, and then she always associates every words, every numbers with some kind of unique living things or sometimes dead things. And then I think I watched her interview and then on YouTube actually, and then she mentioned that the key to winning every championship of the memory championship is always associates the words and numbers into it's either into some sentences or just creating some stories. Mostly it's fiction stories, but like for example for it's a series of number, right, for memory championship. Example 4312, number 4, she will illustrates on her mind it's a flag. Number 3, it's a kungkang or monkey, and then number 1 is a stick. Number 2 is a duck. So inside her mind, it's a flag carried by a monkey, and then the monkey climbs up into a giant stick, and then suddenly jump into a duck. So the weirder the story gets, the it stays longer in her mind, and she end up winning everything. I think she's the youngest. She's the youngest and the only female, I guess, the one who win the memory championship. So because you mentioned whether this is a gift or not, I think it's a gift. It's a gift, and then once you know how to train it, it will be a very huge benefit. It's either for yourself like Yanja, or because I think I don't know if it's related to photographic memory, but I think it's different, but
It's different.
they have similar type of remembering things, right? So I think those are very potential. I can only imagine if I have that kind of in the opposite of being a Dory, short-term memory loss, there will be a lot there will be a lot better for me. I keep on forgetting things, so yeah, I do hope I can have that kind of gift, that kind of potential. I think that's it.
I believe it is a potential things to explore. However, sometimes it's also become a hinder for because person with synesthetics is actually different. The way they think or the way they explain things is unlike others. So most of the time, I think they are being quiet because they think they are different. And it's not necessarily for the memory, but I think the way they see things, so the senses comes together sometimes with the like color or the sense. It's hard to explain because this is also a new area for me to explore. After long conversations with my son during this pandemic thing. So it's a blessing. Thanks, Diyas.
Okay, thank you, Kaimong. So thank you, Kaimong. Shall we repeat, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Can't wait, actually.
No, I have two books, but In My Time by Dictionary, I read on Kindle, and the other one is Karl Marx, Das Kapital and Other Writings, right? But Donald requested maybe next week or next month, I'll talk about Karl Marx, and this month is In My Time by Dictionary. So for those who are not familiar with Dictionary, he was the vice president of George W. Bush Jr., right? And then he was a very infamous vice president because a lot of people accused him of controlling President Bush Jr. And he was the behind the scene or the dalang, puppet, the master of puppets behind the Iraq invasion, things like that. And FYI, he was Baimung's ex-boss in Halliburton. Right? Because Baimung used to work at Halliburton.
Yeah, I got many but people teasing me or
Because of that, right?
Because
Yeah.
of that.
I can imagine, actually. So if you want to be familiar with him, you probably want to check out the movie Vice, and it's won a lot of awards. The true story, well, they said it's true story, but it's disputable. And the actor was Christian Bale. Yeah, so the Batman Christian Bale, we love him, right? So that one. And but because it's 650 pages, I only around 300-ish, but I can share about how he became successful, And I wrote my reflections. Let me open it. Oh, sorry. Here. So he was a successful high schooler. He was actually, everyone realized that he was very smart. He was very smart, very productive with his time. And he's a man who can do anything, basically. He was good in sports, he was good in academics, and he was a really good student. Good in student, was a class president, student organization president, all of this. The all-American guy, basically, right? And then he got a full scholarship at Yale and stuff. And all of this, though, can be successful if there is a system. We can be successful if there is a system that can respect or appreciate our meritocracy, merits, basically. So if in America, if you really achieve something, then you get a chance to have this full scholarship, things like that, right? So this first thing was the one enabling him to be successful. And then when he got the scholarship at Yale, he got kicked out because he drank too much. He spent a lot of time just partying with his roommates, right? And then he got kicked out. He wasted his opportunity, but fortunately, he made a big mistake, but still got a second chance because for some reasons, Yale still give him the scholarship for the second time. So this is a very, I consider him lucky. There's a luck playing a role here because his grades became bad. He was drunk almost every day, but he flunked all of classes. But several years after that, he got another scholarships to Yale. So this is probably a luck situation, right? And then, although he really had bad raps, right? For example, he was caught drunk driving 2 times. He was actually went to jail 2 times because of drunk driving, but he still managed to get good job as well. So probably in Indonesia, it's kind of hard to do because you have this SKCK type of things, right? Surat keterangan kelakuan baik or SKKB, something like that. So if you are caught doing something, probably it's hard for you to get good jobs. But in America, it didn't really influence his career. So if you prove you can do it, you still find opportunities to work. And then this one, next one. Okay, so how did he get sober? So he realized that his best friends were actually the reason he became a bad person. Like the one who encouraged him to drink every night and party in bars was actually his best friend, his roommate. And then he decided to take a brave decision to, if I want to be sober, if I want to have a life worth living, I should cut off my relationship with this person. So the best thing he could do that time, left his best friend. So find a different apartment with totally different roommate, right? And then this new roommate happened to be never drank anything, and he saved money from every time he got his pay. So it's come up influence him. So totally changing your environment or your person you're connected with can really bring dramatic change to your life. So he intentionally left his best friend and find a new person, and this person inspired him to be a better person. And then he also, this is line work and things like that related to Indonesia. Okay, that time when he was really hard, like he couldn't even pay rent, things like that, and he already had kids, his wife was expecting, things like that. He was inspired by JFK's speech in 1960. So this is how, as a leader, we should be able to inspire our citizens or something, the way JFK inspired Dick Cheney. Although JFK was Democrat, Dick Cheney was pure Republican, for example, right? And then, right? All right. So how was he able to go up to White House? Now, this is also very important. In America, there are so many trusts or organizations that set up scholarships. So not only relying on government. Probably here, Sampurna, Beasiswa Sampurna, or Jarum, Beasiswa Jarum, things like that, yeah. So he won an essay competition that time. And then for some reason, his essay was really good, so that he got offered to do an intern for governor of blah, 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 something like that, right? So this is the first significant step of ladders for him. So he won an essay competition, very stellar. I wish I could read what the essay was about. It's a political commentary or something. And then he got an intern to work for a governor of certain state in America, I forgot who. And then because of that, he was moving from the intern of one important person until the other, right? Because he was known to be, okay, he's the one who can do anything. You ask him to do something, he will get the job done and stuff. Until he landed in Donald Rumsfeld's office. Donald Rumsfeld is the person who would bring him everywhere, including the White House. So the moral of the story, in my opinion, is if you can impress the right person, this person can be your vehicle to achieve the best that you can do. Because Donald Rumsfeld was very impressed by this young man, not even 30 years old yet, right? That time was an intern, but for some reason, I didn't even explain in detail how Donald Rumsfeld was really impressed by him, right? But since that moment, Donald Rumsfeld took him everywhere, moving from one position to another, and then became higher and higher. Even when they had to split one time, because Donald Rumsfeld had to move to Belgium and Dick Cheney decided to stay in America, even years after that, when Donald Rumsfeld got offered a certain job in America, he still contacted Dick Cheney because I want you to be my assistant, something like that. So that is actually, if you can impress the right person, I think you will be successful in this way. And then it's a vice versa situation. So when Dick Cheney became the vice president of George W. Bush, then he was the one picking up Donald Rumsfeld. So the situation become turned, right? Now that Dick Cheney has a higher position than Donald Rumsfeld, a few decades after that, Donald Rumsfeld was given the Secretary of Defense position during Bush Jr. administration. Yeah, so this is take and give situation. And then last but not least is Dick Cheney was a true capitalist, and all of his decisions, this capitalism is really reflected in every single thing he decided. For example, when he was tasked to allocate immigrants from at that thing, I think Mexico or somewhere that time, it was in Latin America. Someone gave an idea. Why don't we make them farmers in Virginia, something like that. And then he opposed the idea because of what? That would disrupt the market of corn or something in Virginia, right? The free market is perfectly balanced by itself. So quoting from Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, right? So if we actually interfere, if the government interfere, the result will be disastrous. So he advocated a lot of capitalism ideas here. Government should not interfere with the economy. Let the market balance itself. Supply and demand type of situation, including when he decided to launch an attack on Iraq that time, on war on terror. He actually took a big risk, right? And if you know, capitalist is essentially taking a huge risk, right? Because modalnya besar and then there's no guarantee it will be successful, right? So he decided, what I did is taking a big risk, and no one was willing to take that risk, right? And he was kind of proud of it until now. He was still proud of his decision to attack Iraq. America still attacked Iraq at that time. So that one. And he also know his limit and he know his capacity. So when he became the President Ford's campaign manager, he recommended not to use Rockefeller. If you know, Rockefeller is a very famous industrialist, right? Just like Vanderbilt. And he became best president. And he said, if you insist Rockefeller still become your vice president, I would resign. And then he decided to resign. But Ford went ahead anyway, Rockefeller, and he won the second time, right? So sometimes Cheney is not always correct. Yeah, so his prediction was not always proven to be true. So this is how I think what we can learn from half of his life and how to be successful. So that's it.
Thank you, Pipit. Anyone would like to ask questions for Pipit?
Yeah. Okay, so I read here that Cheney often cited as the most powerful vice president in American history. In addition to the Iraq War, is there any other examples? Because it's such a strong claim, right? The strongest, most influential president in.
Yeah, so it was very famous. It was very famous for him to be the vice president. It's not only because of decisions, but he decided things for Bush Jr. So a lot of the chief of staff of White House came to Dick Cheney, not come to Bush Jr. You know, so it was so many situations when Bush Jr. didn't even know what was going on, and then people just came to Dick Cheney. It's almost like everyone knows that the mastermind behind all this is Dick Cheney, not Bush Jr. So Bush Jr. was the poster child of this administration. And yeah, like for example, a lot of like you know, that financial crisis situation when America was in the brink of collapse because of the housing bubble, for example. Dick Cheney refused to give aid to people who are about to lose their home. That's one thing that was mentioned here in the memoir. And he defended his decision that time. He said, when the government help the people, then people will not learn their lesson. For example, they will go bankrupt for the second time, something like that. So when a lot of people were about to lose their home, there's supposed to be like a bailout from the government, right? But Bush Jr., through executive order, he denied this bailout for millions of Americans who were about to lose their home, and it created a financial crisis that time, right? Yeah. So that's another example.
Okay, yeah, thank you. If I may follow up, so yeah, I watched the documentary about 9/11, and there President Bush was in control. The impression that I got. So for Dick Cheney to become the most powerful, there in my imagination there must be something with him that give him a lot of influence over President Bush.
Yes, actually, you realize that President Bush Jr. was not that smart.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm going to ask.
Yes.
I think everyone realized that.
Realize that.
He's not that
Everyone
smart.
knows, like it's a
Mm.
public secret almost, you know. And when 9/11 attack happened, President Bush was in an elementary school reading something with the kids. The one in the White House was Dick Cheney. So he was the one went to the bunker and then went to the Pentagon base to all of this. All of them was him, not even Bush Jr. So if people realize it, that he was the one, actually the actual president was him.
Yeah.
Not, yeah.
From my understanding at this point, maybe one reason why he was very powerful was because of his alliance with Rumsfeld.
Oh yes, totally.
So
yes, with the
these two people have combined influence over the president.
no, but even without Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney was already strong. He has the weapon industry behind him. He also is an oil tycoon. So oil industry was behind him too. And you can imagine arms industry plus oil industry. That's like you will be very powerful. You have really good connection. And Donald Rumsfeld, he became the Secretary of Defense as well, right? So I think that's those two combinations that made him very powerful.
Okay, one last question. Sorry, time for too much time. So if he was so powerful, why didn't he run for president himself?
Yeah, actually, the reason is because his daughter was gay. One of his daughters was gay, and he only had his heart on Republican, right? So he could not run as the president that time because he wanted to champion for gay rights, thinking about his daughter, right? Which is really, that's a golden heart for him, right? Because he prioritized his daughter. He didn't want to condemn gay rights or something. So that did not make him eligible to be the Republican candidate for president. So if vice president, you don't have to go through all of this. You can just be appointed by the president. So that's why how he became only vice president.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pipit. Kaimon or Michelle, would you like to add
You want to
some
defend your
comments?
boss, Kaimu?
I think, it's interesting that hypocrisy, in America is also, like, I think it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
When
really crazy.
referred to this gay thing that prevent him to his presidentship. But anyway, what makes you interested in this story or in this figure specifically, Pipit?
Yeah, actually, because a lot of people condemn him. Just like if it's in UK, would be Margaret Thatcher, right? Very unpopular. Probably the same as Margaret Thatcher in UK, and Dick Cheney is very unpopular in America. So I just want to know his side of the story. And this book is rightfully so, because for all the controversial decisions he made, he defended his decision in this book. So I think I just saw him as a misunderstood man, and then just wanted to know his side of the story.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Michelle, would you like to add some comments before? Okay, good. Do you have a book you want to present?
Find the movie, but not available on Netflix. So
Maybe somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Joe, would you
Watch
like to?
Vice. You will be like, wow, this person is very powerful.
interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Pipit. Yeah. Misha, would you like to go next? Do you have a book with you?
It's
Any
okay.
book to
Even the
present?
book you just read the introduction, you can share about it.
I found this book on the internet, but I haven't read. Wait. I haven't read this yet. Like I bought last week, but it's new. I cannot find on the internet. No ebook yet. I think. Yeah. So I'll find this next meeting. I think this is interesting because it's about scaling up surprising truths from the world's most successful entrepreneurs. So I would like to know what is it? What are they? So yeah, next meeting. Like new, brand new look.
What makes you choose that book, Michael?
I want to be an entrepreneur, but my experience try to become one, it's very difficult. And so now currently I'm learning in a company that I have the chance to like look from the close perspective, from behind the scenes. So I would like to know, oh, okay, it's like that, it's like that. It's not about how good you are, it's also part of who you are. So wow, interesting. There are lots of hacks that we don't know. So I would like to know further from the point of view of academician, from academics or from the other entrepreneurs, because I see from the local entrepreneurs it's family business, but I don't know from this. Yeah, it's tricky. I like
Masters of scale is very capitalist. What is it? Expression as well. Scale is they call it the economy of scale, right? It's a industrialism. How you can make a lot of profit if the scale you create is bigger or something. So I still remember it was in Adam Smith's book, The Wealth of Nation, talks about the economy of scale. So when your book talking about masters of scale, I think probably in the same vein.
I loved it.
Yeah, if I may ask Michael, because you are interested in entrepreneurship, what book in entrepreneurship has been the most impactful for you so far?
Oh, I'm not yet successful in entrepreneurship. So
No. The book that you have read so far, which one has left the deepest impression on you?
I know the Russian author.
Negotiation? Huh?
Negotiation,
No.
School of Kremlin School of Negotiation.
Not one. Not that
Oh,
one.
another one.
Not that
I
one.
do, but because I
Oh,
only
that's
remember.
good. But that's for negotiation. Yeah, that's good. But that's a very good question because entrepreneurship, it's not about technical skills. The core that I get so far, it's not about the skills that I read from all of those books, including the best negotiation book, something, because it's not about that, but it's about the mindset. It's okay. Like I'm currently I'm still trying to find the core, but the book here is about technical. It's really about the mindset. So the mindset biography, I read the biography of, look, I forgot. Jeff Bezos. Yeah, it's the biography.
Amazon.
Amazon. Give me like the best one. But I don't really like reading biography. I just feel I need to. So yeah, I still force.
So
Force
Jeff
myself.
Bezos is one of your idol in entrepreneurship, you think?
In the mindset. I mean, it's not. It's like the how you react, how you respond on something. So because no one, if I read book about negotiations, it's only about technical negotiations. If I read book about the sales, it's about sales. But becoming entrepreneurship is how I make like 50 decisions in a day, or even tiny decisions. So it's not about the decision to make, but it's about who you are, that you give that decision and why you give that decision, why you make that decision. That's not instant, and I haven't figured it out yet until today.
Tough question, says Michael. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, it's my turn. Okay. So this is the book, guys. This is the Peter Principle by Lawrence Peter and Raymond Howe. And if you see the title over here, there are micro titles, and it's kind of intrigued me when I first saw it. But anyway, I got this one from Fair Plus on discount, so yay. And then why things always go wrong. It's mostly talk about incompetence. So I guess it relates to what Donald and Bipit and also Michelle also said and Kaimu, because you mentioned something about psychology, right? So I cannot really get the same line within this book, but because it's about incompetence, this book actually explains how and why most organizations or most companies, they have majority to hire or to promote the incompetence. So it's kind of why they're not capable to do it, but why do you choose him, why do you choose her, why do you choose that people? Because there are lots of reason why the incompetence reach to this peak level, to this top level. And then for me, as someone who enters a new industry at the moment, it gives me lots of understanding, and it gives lots of new perspective as well, because um, I don't I won't get upset when I see my supervisor seems like why he can't seem to do anything by his own, but yet he's the supervisor, something like that. Or why does the boss do this when they know that it will cause them chaos, it will bring disaster, but still they do it anyway, because first maybe they do know exactly what they're doing, but second maybe because it's incompetence. So um and then most of the most of the cases of incompetence, it's actually happened in the family business. That's what he said, but I haven't figured out that yet, because I think it will be too sensitive, because lots of family business also successful nowadays, right? But still there are some incompetencies that we might figure it out, and why does it happen, and how we deal with it. So I guess the most interesting part is that incompetencies are everywhere. It's even in the government as well, and we can see from Pipit's book that even Bush
Maybe
is
especially in the
not
government, not
especially
even in, but especially.
okay, emphasize on the especially. Especially uh relates to what Pipit mentioned is Bush. It's not he doesn't have that competencies, I think, at all. But the person around him, the person who gets the authority behind him, is the one who took in charge, right? So based on dictionary. And then from military aside as well, the reason why militaries got deserted, why they don't feel like they belong to it's most of the time it's also because the incompetencies of their leader, of their supervisor, and then that's what frustrates them the most, and then they said it I will just leave it I will just leave everything behind, and then just go, and then don't find me, and then I won't be fine, and then better for me just go AWOL or MIA rather than have to deal with this incompetency. So it's actually a battle within ourselves instead. So why things always go wrong is I don't know, I haven't experienced all of it, although the post-it is full, but it made me realize that, oh yeah, okay, because having all these years working in different companies, then I do realize, and it's kind of like a tamparan in my face. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, I see that. That's why this person got promoted into instructor. Oh, that's why this person became the leader for this division. It's not, sometimes it's not because they're the smartest or they are the one who have all the informations. It's because they are the mid competent. They have the mid, like for in terms rank 1 to 10. It's not always the number one that will go promoted, but maybe the 4 or the 5 instead, because they want also someone who have room for improvement. So I guess it made a lot of sense to what I've been experiencing. So my rate for this book is 4 out of 5, because I wish Peter have more clear explanations on why does it happen, because mostly the chapters on this book is about stories. It's about, oh, this is what happened in this company, this is what happened in this organization, and this is what happened in this division of government. I wish he would tell more about why does it happen instead of just telling stories. But in the end, we are the one who read it, and we can take whatever summaries that we can take from this book. So I guess that's it. Thank you. And oh, how long does it take for me to read the book? I think 2-3 days, because lots of skimming nowadays. I still have to read other books for my midterm. I guess that's it. Thank you.
I have a question, Diyas.
Sure, Donna.
You said there are many stories in the book. What story did you find most surprising? I mean, what? This incompetent person, how come he become leader? Can you give an example story?
There is one. So from rank 1 to 10, the boss picked number 7 because of likability. And then that gives me like a wow, like a jaw drop, something like that, because like and dislike is very powerful as well. And then I hate to say this, but in some organizations, in some association, or in whatever parts you belong with, sometimes it's not always the smartest, or it's not always the kindest, but the one that have a close connection with the one who have the authority.
Nepotism.
Something like that. And then it happens everywhere. So don't trust anyone who says, oh, this is a fair competition, this is a it doesn't really happen actually in real life. Yes,
Well,
they can say that, but
Yeah.
to prove it, it will be otherwise. It will be the opposite anyway, and it will be a challenge. So
Well, I think on the nepotism, I have a different how to say this, different opinion lah, yeah. I mean, if you have two people with the same competence, which one would you choose? Of course, the one that with high likability factor. And
Same
when
competence, yeah. Same competence, of
same
course.
competence, where does this come from? It's coming from the also this one is a competence, right? Competence of having a good intrapersonal skill,
Mm.
a good relationship skill, because otherwise you wouldn't be liked.
yeah, and then it's not always wrong anyway to have close connection. Like I don't blame Dictionary for being the man behind everything, because he's so competent. He has the competencies ever since he was a kid, right? He was so smart. He is able to do this, to do that. Basically, he can do everything. So actually, based on competencies, he's very competent. But in certain way, it created Bush to be the one who have no competencies at all. So I think from that example, it will happen in other organizations, in other companies, and it's not right, it's not wrong, but it's just okay, it's fine, because that's what life is. It was that's what life it is. And then where in what positions you are in right now, just make sure that you're not the one who's incompetence. That's all. That's the summary of the book. So don't be the one who have no competencies at all. Always have room for improvement, and then always look back to yourself whether you're capable or not, and then just admit to what you can do. So yeah.
Responding to Kak Ilmu though, if that's the case, two people have equal competence, then of course we choose the one with likability, because likability is also a plus factor. Right? Probably it will be problematic if there are two people with two different competence. One is higher than the other, but the one in the lower is more likable. Now, that's probably the straightforward example. So should we choose these people with lower competence but likable, or the true competence but just okay, not likable, just neutral?
The one that was mentioned in the book is number 7. Is imagine number 7, 1 to 10. The person is number 7 in terms of competence, but end up chosen because of likability. So
it's really different from the Chinese relationship with Donald Rumsfeld, because obviously it was nepotism as well, right? Whenever Donald Rumsfeld have an opening as an assistant, he did not open it as everyone can apply and I will choose the best. No, he directly appointed Dick Cheney, for example, right? But he did that out of meritocracy because he knew Dick Cheney has the competence that I need for an assistant. I don't need to open this position for other people. That is, in a way, that's nepotism, but based on meritocracy. I think that's probably that's still tolerable.
That one is also many American companies, or not American, multinational companies take that approach, like reference from within, yeah. Jadi dari employees, they have this reference reward or something like that to get somebody to be hired instead of going out there. And I think it's very makes sense, yeah, very realistic. Why nowadays? Because otherwise, if you open that to everyone, there will be a lot of energy and time, and screening is like crazy there. So I remembered when I worked for one of these companies, they will give you quite good money, like was it 10% or 20% of the salary from that person, that if you recommend your friends to be hired, when they are accepted and hired, we get some money from that. You can call that nepotism in a way, but I think it's a good way to be efficient and effective in getting good employees.
yeah, that's why the book don't really, it's not blaming, it's not saying that, oh, this is wrong, or oh, this is bad. It's not that obvious. It's very subtle, but then it reminds us that incompetencies happen everywhere and it's okay, and it's part of life. It's part of life. And then if we see someone incompetence, doesn't have competencies in the government, it's also okay.
What does
I
this
think
say? Diyas, what does it say in the book about incompetencies there? Like, I mean, what is the real definition? Can it be like the one with likability factor high, but low in competence can be called incompetence, for example?
basically the competence,
Yeah.
competence, the likability, it's another different factor, but yet it affects that much. You know what I'm saying? Competencies is different from likability. Competencies means For example, if your job, let's say, I'm talking about my job previously as a cabin crew. So the competencies are no sick leave for, let's say, a year, and then never miss out a flight, called up on standby right away, and then what else? 100% score on every recurrent. That's what you call competencies. But likability, meaning that you can talk to your supervisor, you can talk to the cabin crew manager, you can have a strong impression on your colleagues whenever you do the flight. That's likability, because even the smartest, even the one who never made any mistake, if they're not likable, if they're too rigid while doing the job, if they're too too kaku, kaku is rigid, right? Too rigid while doing the procedures and stuff, it can't be that likability as well, because the job itself needs lots of negotiation, needs lots of alternation somehow, but still the one that can follow, can apply, can reach the test for becoming a supervisor and stuff. Sometimes they're not that competent, but because their likability, because they can work with everyone, something like. So I hope that answers that. I still need some time also to read this one, but because I skipped the mid part of it, but in the end, the summary is about life quality improvement is everything that we need. That's it. So after explaining lots of incompetencies and competencies, that's the end.
Yeah. This is according to LC likability factor Tim Sanders. The 4 elements of likability is like friendliness, relevance, empathy, and realness.
Yes.
So yeah, probably it's different than the competence or incompetence.
Yes, it's a competence in terms of intrapersonal skills, but the competencies that I think mentioned and highlight in this book is about the ability of you doing your job, doing your task, doing what's the most important thing about the job.
Michael has a question. Michael.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's interesting when the likability and incompetence, the competency and likability is for some jobs, likability is part of the competency. So the job is to be liked. For example, in negotiations, they tend to close the deal with people they like. So actually being likable is part of the competency.
Yeah, some jobs are like that. Yeah, you remember when we were flying, it's not all about, it's not all about the one who made no mistakes when doing, for example, pre-flight procedure, pre-flight briefing, the one who made no mistakes. It doesn't mean his likability. Sometimes he just got the right moment, right? He just got the right moment whenever the person are asking, okay, what's the procedure for ditching? And then when you go, you would go like that, and then everyone will boo you in the briefing room, right?
Right. So,
but that doesn't mean his incompetencies in terms of, let's say, friendliness or your ability to operate the galley, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like
but some jobs, it's totally different. Okay. So it doesn't apply to every industry, I guess. Or maybe for technical jobs like mechanics, they don't really need to be friendly, right? They don't need to be really, hi everyone. It doesn't have to be like that, because the main thing about your job is fix the broken part, and that's it.
That's for specialists, I think, and there are like specialists and generalists, right? And if you go to like the specialists we don't need that kind of soft skills. But when we go like generalist and the other of the specialists like of lawyer, of doctor, etc. But that we and while the other that requires the degree or special skills, right?
Human connection
What again, Mbak Pipit?
needs a human connection that
Mm-mm.
like
They
a
don't need-
if you don't
Yeah.
need human connection, no one cares, right?
But nowadays, everything is blending, right? Look at the design thinking. You cannot be an engineer without empathy, because otherwise
Yes.
you create something, but that thing is just, something technical, but it doesn't answer humans' need. So somehow they have to have
But this person will not work alone. It's a collaborative. So maybe this other person who have the capacity to add some likability to something. If someone who is capable of fixing your refrigerator, you don't care whether the person is friendly to you or not. Your refrigerator is running, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's not a clear-cut situation. But talking about incompetence makes us our blood boiling, probably, right? Because a
yeah.
lot of people. But if I were to define incompetence, is when someone is become counterproductive to the overall inner workings of things. So if you work in a team, you can really tell when someone is incompetent, because other people would have to make up for whatever is lacking by this person, right?
Yeah.
Like you cannot count on this person. Like for example, it's not my job to translate this document. There's other person who is tasked to translating it. But I will feel reluctant or even decide to do the translation myself, because I know this person whose job
Yeah.
cannot do it, or they in the history of their career history or something make a lot of mistakes in the work. So it make me feel like now I have to do the job. It's not even my job description. So that is what incompetence means when you actually affect the whole team's inner workings.
And yet sometimes and most of the times that person end up getting a promotion in or end up chosen to be the but yeah, that's life. Reading the first 2 chapters of this book, it made me remembering what happened in my previous workplace way before AirAsia. I mean, and then I realized, wow, oh wow. I remember, oh yeah, I remember this man, oh yeah, I remember this woman. So then I realized, oh okay, I wish I could have I have read this sooner, so then I won't be that disappointed, or I won't be that furious when that thing happened, or when those things happen. So yeah, I think well I will read this one after midterm again, just to finish everything and to grasp everything, I hope.
Yes,
Okay.
you said you want to read Freakonomics, right?
Yeah.
There's a really good example in Freakonomics about the police in America. So before this particular time, the police got a promotion automatically, just like in Indonesia, right?
Oh.
It doesn't matter if you have achievement or not, your promotion comes automatically as you get longer working for the police department. Right? So it became automatic. And then there was an idea to introduce meritocracy in the department. So anyone who can arrest more people will get promoted. Okay, so that's meritocracy. Do you know what the police did? They arrested people on false charges. They planted drugs on someone's car during a search, and then this is yours. And then they just arrest people with fake things. Why? Because they want to get promoted. So it's really, when we talk about human, it's really complicated. If we want to give them some meritocracy, then they work the system, right? Try to find the loopholes take a rest, things like this. But if we don't do that, then they will be lazy or incompetent people who can. So it's really a complicated situation.
That's interesting example, right? Because you know, one answer can actually open up a loophole for for another
Yeah.
nightmare, right? But it's reminding me of the same kepolisian, yeah. In I'm not sure if you have heard about this enrichment.
Sorry,
practice.
no one has working as a police, right? Or
But enrichment,
none of us work as a police. Okay.
no.
Okay, please.
Enrichment, they have this system with the philosophy keeping small things small. So what they did was actually find out, making a comparison, how much money, how much cost they have to spend for chasing that guys, putting them on the judging system, and putting them on the cell, right, on the jail, and then comparing it by preventing it, how to prevent this from happening. So what they did was they created a program together with the community. So they trained all these police officers on how to talk with kids, with youth, and so they are planted in schools to become friends with the teenagers, right? And that's a prevention one. And they also created a lot of places for young people, youth, to do something on their own, you know, for activities. And they become like that too. The way they dress up, like you know, and then the way they talk, yo, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And actually,
Imitate.
after a while, it became successful, and it became a role model for many policemen around the world. They come to learn from them, because actually the cost of keeping the small things small is actually way smaller than the cost of chasing the bad guys.
Mm.
So probably that one is better than this meritocracy that can keep people finding a loophole.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you, Kak Imong.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And then
just one
I think-
comment about Diyas' book. I think
Yeah.
it's connected to the book that I read. That is, if you want to give control to someone, there are two pillars. The first one is competence, and the second one is clarity.
Hmm.
You need both of them, and then you can promote the person. Yeah, just short comment. I think it's connected. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I think when I heard you explain your book. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And okay, pictures.
Photo, grab the nearest book. Okay, I'll grab my nearest book.
Oh, where's my book?
Yeah, because I don't have I read the
I'll put just any book.
Yeah.
any book.
Kosakata.
Kuasa kata. You know, the other day I read this kuasa rasa.
Hmm.
Kuasa kata. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Done.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Donald, would you like to do the closing of Book Brewers?
Okay, thank you, Diyas, for leading our session today. So just a short reminder for all of us that our mission here, also implementing clarity from the book that I just read, that our mission here is that we want to cultivate the passion for lifelong learning. So we want to be passionate about learning, and we want to do it lifelong, not just when we are in school or when we are asked by our company, but lifelong. So passion and lifelong learning. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Clarity and competence.
Before we finally close this,